opponents will not just do it because everyone else is going to start battening down the hatches, going a little bit more of a turtle stationary play. If you can get in the center of some of these circles and get a very solid compound, if you're a high up team in the top 5, there's no way you're going to go looking for kills. You're gonna hold down what you've garnered and defend it with your life.
And I think this, to me, is a really excellent point when you bring up someone like Clib, who's proven his weight in gold. It was a roster change coming in. I know a lot of the fans still, you know, they love K-Mind. But I think pound for pound, they got the better pickup here in Clib. I think he fits that roster, the play style, the, you know, ability to just garner points. He seems to have slotted in a little bit better. And I think it's no disrespect to K-Mind. I think everyone who's seen K-Mind play can always enjoy it. He's a very flashy player at times, but maybe just didn't quite have that synergy within the roster. But this change up for Liquid has looked good. That looks like something you're going to stick to. However, we've got Batulins here. The kind of, you know, warrior leader for Northern Lights. He's never a player to shy away from also being an instigator, which I really find very impressive for an IGL. Someone who's, you know, obviously trying to keep track of so much, yet still be able to focus on his own abilities, his own fragging capabilities. But this hasn't been the tournament to highlight that. But if I know the fans, you know, you guys at home are dedicated, you know what we mean. I don't have to, you know, talk you through his accolades. We all know how well he's played in the past. Whether this tournament's just a one-off, that man can play a game trying very impressive for an IGL. Someone who's, you know, obviously trying to keep online. Wow, okay, we've got a shift to the east here, Rich. This puts a lot of the teams who thought they were central now out of sorts. There's going to be a bit of play in here. Omicron, Blaze, the Wildcats, Ents suddenly become the kings of the castle.
Yeah, and how much of this central area is playable? And when I say playable, I mean circle-wise. There's a lot of open compounds, a lot of broken areas that you can get in within. I'd say being the first player to fall for FaZe. I'd be surprised if they committed towards this and continue it. I think you're just going to end up feeding further people. Praise the law that Fuzzfest actually managed to catch. He created off guard. It was a Hail Mary, in my opinion. He could have just been sat there waiting, looking down the reticle of his gun, waiting for them to arrive. It's definitely a little bit sketch, but neither way. They only lose one player on the pull-up, so it's still one player. It's still not great, but it's better than losing the rest of the team. The question is, do Liquid know that Omicron's here? Because if they don't, they'll be walking into the arms, the waiting, prying arms of Omicron, who are just set up, ready, willing, and more than able. Clips off the back of the bike also. And as top two teams, taking casualties on the first rotation.
I mean, they both went for quite a risky maneuver. Bear in mind, they were almost in the new circle, so it wouldn't have taken much of a shuffle to play edge, potentially, even though obviously you're hoping then on hard shifts and what have you. These kind of crazed pushes are dangerous, so you're always playing with the odds here. I like this move up from TSM, though. That's pretty tasty. We've seen Northern Lights often go for this, too. This has been a Northern Lights adjustment, too. We've seen them often be in here. ETG have made it, but Vard's found Fender. Good work from Vard there. If they could flush that, that'd be great, but I think Fender's going to be able to slip into potentially either the building or maybe into a little bit of an alleyway, so he should be safe enough. It'll take a bit of a miracle nade to head out that way. We'll see if any of them land it, but they know who they're up against now. They know where they're roughly positioned. As the rest should come in. Blaze are getting a little curious. I see Apocalypse considering from the hill, but Vard and Vex are on this one. Vard's feeling it. If he's going to be going aggressive today, that could be extremely exciting. Flash in. Is he pushing it? He's caught his own flash there, which is a bit of a problem. Peeks the corner. He is heads and shoulders further ahead from his teammates. He might need to wait for a little bit of support here, but he's the one-man band. He's pushed up beyond anyone else, so he's claimed so much territory. The others now can work around the house. They can start maybe flooding this. They can start getting some good presence noted because he's holding this angle. That's what Iroh's doing, what Fex is doing. They're going down the checklist of how do we clear this. Miraku being the back player, just going to keep eyes across the board. I'd like some high ground for him maybe if he could, but maybe he doesn't feel like he can. If that door swings open, Fex could be set up to maybe get a peek on it, but this is really nice. He's playing ahead of where they expect, and I think that's incredibly diligent. Let's see if they check on it, though.
Always that potential trade-off that you lose a player. Pause this for a second. Oh, I'm surprised that he chased that one in case there was a player waiting around the corner, but the damage has been done. He strikes, he picks up the point, and now he retreats to the rest of the roster. Everyone becomes a little bit more panicky about the situation, given that you've lost 25% of the team just like that. With no helmet on, it was always going to be difficult. Certainly a small question that came into arise, and I'm wondering if they want to try and squeeze this one a little bit more. You can see Miracle is going deeper on the back side of this,
Yes.
along the houses. They do get a
But
pick, you know they're going to push it.
Oh, wait. Oh my god, the nade was good from Page. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This could be Liquid gone. Mexi had a molly near him too, so they know where he is. Omicron are pressing this issue. They've seen that, well, you know, if we want to have a chance of this, we've got to take down the tip top. You've got to slow that roll. And here we go. Mexi's on fire. And so is the Liquid boys.
Wow.
Out in 16th.
Wow.
Game on, ladies and gents. Welcome to Sundays in PUBG. This is going to be nuts. But back into this fight, I want to highlight how valuable Miraku, Vard, and Iroh are being here. Fex can hold the line. He is just holding that back line. The others have now kind of pinned in and surrounded Etiquette. They've limited their amount of room to operate, to maybe worm behind enemy lines. Now they're stuck there. So TSM can just kind of keep in this position because they're the ones who have the power positions, right? So TSM knows where the opponents are, whereas ETG don't know. And Vard's getting curious. He's shuffled through the roster. He's leant back over towards Miraku, and he's going to try and push it. We're seeing Ents getting a little bit of action towards Shift W. That's over in the east, trying to come into this new circle. Chris is still on the bike. It's looking like he might make it. That bike can shift. So he's going to move up, but right into Omicron. Bloody hell, these guys are magnet right now for action.
I think that's going to be Chris's day. Rote, unfortunately, and that'll be only one alive for Shift W, and that's a team currently in third position. So if that last player goes down, losing 2 out of the top 3 instantly off the back, thankfully Kill Your Kind will be there to at least get the resuscitation so they can keep 50% up. For FaZe Clan, that is watching this and reading it and understanding what's going on, and to be fair, I'd be laughing. It's like we couldn't ask for really a better start. All of his enemies that are around us and closest to us are already taking casualties. But they need to make advantage of that. They need to take full advantage of the situation, knowing that these enemies are down. Liquid did it yesterday. All right, you know, you know what? We're just going to pause because this is a breach and clear if I've ever seen one, Lauren.
Yeah, TSM is just sweeping through. This is a dirty angle, though. That's a headshot angle. You shouldn't be able to be traded on too easily. Yeah, that's gorgeous. He couldn't get away, though. Stuck in the rubbing. Rubber? There. Words are hard. Rubble. There you go, Lauren. Big girl words, but now forever. Didn't get a flush. Okay. Okay. It's all good. It's all good. Miraku's back up. They did lose Vard in the process, but to be fair, Vard has... It felt like Vard was willing to offer himself up for the greater good. That initial push he made to that first house against them, I mean, you could tell he's playing for bigger picture, and what that means is they now get La Bandita all to themselves, pretty much. Yeah, the surrounding area is busy, but it's almost like you've got guards now patrolling the moat outside your castle. Na'Vi are getting quite curious, though. Keep your eyes towards that. If you see a not come in, it's Na'Vi looking in towards La Bandita, so TSM might have to be careful. But let's check back in on the top players here. Obviously, we're a FaZe in this. Kind of unscathed. They had that initial loss, which is a problem, so I think they lost out on one of the big guys, right? Was it 8C they lost there?
It completely forgets me, to be fair. We'll see as it does go through. I can see Gustav and Fussler, so we're near enough there. AWM falling close to Omicron, whether they actually want to push out and grab that thing. I mean, in the hands of Vazku, it could be absolutely devastating. Shift W will be given a bit of respite. With 2 players still standing, they can at least get inside the compound, but this is outside of the white. Remember, if Ents commit to La Bandita, this could be interesting to say the least. Now, a lot of teams will always commit to La Bandita. You might think, well, why are you pushing yourself down there? Given where the circle was perpendicular to it, you know for a fact for 1 or 2 circles next, it's going to be there. But TSM have the better position. By clearing out that team, by pushing in, they can move toward the outskirts, which forces everyone else to do all the work. Na'Vi is lingering on the ridgeline of La Bandita. Let's not forget that. So that's a third-party time bomb ticking away in the background. It could explode any minute. Ents, they're doing the same as TSM. They're rushing as a 4-man band, and any one solo player that is found from the side of TSM will be collateral damage as they just wander their way through.
Okay, Iroh towards Squeaky. Next challenge is here. Ents fancy their odds. Iroh's out of the building, though. Diggory's going to catch him in the heels. Oh, Iroh's lucky to be alive, but there's no one on the other side just yet. Na'Vi took a second to consider potentially. I thought they were going to be the ones to pressure, but no. It's the Finns who pushed up towards the crash site here. As Fex looking a little worse for wear. HP low, but he gets the heal off, so he'll be back up. Iroh is isolated. I don't know if Ents realize this yet, but if they do, maybe they could try and pressure that issue.
It's whether or not they use Squeaky as bait. He's in a position where he can't be revived. Fex takes full advantage and says, you know what, we'll have him. That's 1 point away. And the score's even up with 3 players either side. Let's still not forget that Na'Vi is overwatching that entire thing. They're currently looking at Omicron on the other side, and that's only by the height advantage that's been given to them by actually playing the ridge. Melman down, but not out. Plenty of damage in the back. Will be forced to heal any second. The nades go towards the side of Quizzy. I'm seeing no damage. He has moved away from the smoke, so they won't realize the position at the moment. Vascu going down in the kill feed, one side of the Adepts. Adepts are actually just a hop, skip, and a jump in front of Omicron. Omicron are in a safety spot for now, but the next circle should push them out. Yellow looking for this target. There's only a time limit to which you can play on this one. You are inside of the white, but unfortunately, it can't house two teams. Only one of them will come out the victor. Jot's on the opposing side. He's in enemy territory, and that's one thing he needs to be careful of. He could be the damage dealer. And to be fair, he's actually been heavily supported by Flamey. Flamey's positions just allows him to play off the back of that. As long as Quizzy doesn't get line of sight, should be pretty safe.
Should. Well, we'll go for should. I only see any safety right now is... Oh, there's the Wildcats coming in with a little bit of action. Tornado Energy's positioning is going to be their best friend in this one. They get to be a little bit closer to the circle. Max will be on the other side from the bystanders. Beamy,
Чим ліквіді вже розвалили, самі перші відкинули. Вони зараз перші позиції мають. І так першу ігру дерьмово зіграли.
Time's ticking and they're being surrounded. They're trying to group up potentially here. Not sure what the plan is. Use the low ground maybe. Try and catch maybe Flammy on the revive towards yellow. Already though, there they go. A nice attempt, but it was all but seen. Now flipping across. New circle hits towards the northwest side of La Bandita. So right now, 3 teams are in the circle. Maybe 4 if you want to count TSM out of the 13. There's a large portion of this in the circle.
There's a full open compound directly in phase. If they've scouted that, or if they just catch it, there is potential they land safely in this. If they realize the situation, but they're going further and deeper inland. They're going towards the main compound. Now, they've been in this position before. With that, oh my god, Soccer just waited and baited them into the open. There's one player.
Where's Kilyukai? Kilyukai could do everything here. Where is he? I see the flashes, nades or something coming out. There we come on,
не підняв челіка.
Push. But now Page gonna be left to rot as Kilyukai tries to find T-Bone, but it's been Noki able to catch him here, it feels. There it is. Nicely done by Noki. Bear in mind, there's only 2 of Adepts. They do seem to be down to lower numbers quite often, but they do, do well for themselves late game. 11 teams now. A couple more filtering in. Northern Lights are the absolute kings of the north here. Same with Razor Edge. These two trying to share the throne, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be trying to take that off each other. Kilyukai on the heel, trying to live in the pocket of Ents over towards Laban. Busy as all hell. Now, TSM is still alive here. Ents to the south, so they get to shuffle through and try and make it forward. Uber's just been caught off. We want to see this phase fight, see how they're doing. There's Tab on the knees, but that's not too much of a
Navi
thing I'm
повзе.
worried about right now. Let's see how FaZe is doing. I think they've got a res off. They weren't in the compound, they were around the back. That makes more sense. I say compound, it is a shack.
Here. Yeah, it's... I mean, they've made a compound with vehicles, if you can really class it. Miracle goes down in the kill feed. Something to make note of. Knocking out the Tabs, a big player to take out, at least do damage to this side of Navi and slow them down. Fex onto another as well.
Сеню завалили, знаю.
This could be the time to shine when it comes to the side of Ents. You know they're engaged, why not have a crack, why not get stuck in by hearing gunfire under the cover of it. Kilyukai is behind Ents, and that's what does really concern me. Time to go, time to shine. Can you get a second? You bloody well can. That is disgusting, and this only helps out TSM.
Kilyukai's done everything. He's got 1v1 with Rustamar now. Oh, it's so good. The flash was excellent. Kilyukai just went 1v3 against Ents. Ents are in 4th spot.
Shift-W ті так теж нормально грають, розвалюють челіків.
He's getting a bonus. He's going to have the curry versed with some nice, Kush maybe later. He can have what he wants.
TSM лишилось двоє тільки.
All looking dangerous today. Yes, down on players might be dead now, but he's done his job. He's done everything. Now, Noki, similar position to Kilyukai. They're both trying to stay alive here. As Philo was lost, you can see Noki trying to get a little bit of a steal there towards TSM. And Iro is very disconnected from this, though. TSM kind of in a a couple of pieces here.
Той собі на халяву хоче піджерти, блін.
It's probably still off the back of that Na'Vi fight, which had to happen eventually, and it was all spiraled off the back of Ents getting crushed from behind. Taking out Na'Vi is going to be a big step inside. I mean, 9 kills already for TSM. That's a decent run. We're already into the top 10. Ira trying to find a secondary angle. We'll see. The feet gets called. Oh, the blue gets him. Oh, steals and just yeets the point away from TSM. Now forced
Shift
to
W вже теж
do the
відкинулись.
dance and do the run. They might be able to draw the attention of Noki and allow Fex to strike, and then we... No, not needed at all. 5 kills in the bag for Ira, and we're up to 10 in total for TSM, so things are looking really good on that team.
If they can pull off, you know, either a sneaky ending or a high kill moment, which with Fex and Iro, you've got the big boys out to play. Iro's not had the best tournament, but I know what he can do. They could pressure Ents here. And
FaZe
obviously
Clan-
FaZe looking to take over Liquid. 4 points difference. as it
FaZe
stands.
Clan
They're in the position
в
to do
жопі
it.
самі
They could be
такі
very well
за
themselves.
туалетом з
Circle,
двох
Iro's gonna
сторін
go.
поставили машини і зі всіх сторін по них валять, блін.
Laz has got a nade, so they've got a good idea. There it goes. Iro bounces a little too far. He's okay, but Fex has fallen. Oh no, it's just Iro alive. This could have been a big moment for TSM if they could have maybe got a couple more kills. That's sick. Nice work from Iro. Go time. Pressure the point. Uber's got some shots on him. It's okay. Gets the flush. Perfect. Still 61 HP. Got the stim on, so he's got a little bit of time to play with here. And if he can isolate Apocalypse, if he can work out where this 2-2 is, he's got some room on this bad boy. He could still do some work. So now, the Wildcats over in the south having to shuffle forward, they might be in trouble because there isn't much in front, as you guys can see. They ain't in while they're here. But Iro could be a danger man. You really don't want him among you. What do the Wildcats do? Do they just crash? What's the plan for them?
О, куди ти їдеш,
Yeah,
чувачок,
smash
тобі
time.
жопа.
Okay. Who gets it?
Getting stuck in. I mean, I'm all for it.
До
This allows the
побачення,
attempt to
двом.
wander in. The Wildcats go down. Uber, who was knocked earlier on, actually back on his feet in time to strike. I've no idea how Ira's been allowed to get to this position between 4 players individually. That is crazy. More importantly, with the compound that is in, if he can just shuffle along a little bit, the other 2 players
Oh my
opposite him
gosh.
have to work past him.
Exactly that. It's the way the circle's gone. There's only really one building in the wall in this. So Iro gets the chance to be the biggest pain in the world here. He can make them work for it. Now, obviously, Util could remove them, and FaZe, hold on, they're on the move here. Here we go, on the buggy, Gustav. Buzzface, they're low. Goodbye, Gustav. Buzzface, where are you going to get to? God, that buggy's seen better days, hasn't it? Pulls up, gets the dip. Probably just going to try and hit the deck, stay alive. Right, game plan spotted for FaZe, but Iro is the one I want to watch. He could be such a tantalizing prospect here. Northern Lights will have to move towards Raise Your Edge, potentially bystanders towards Fuzzface, so you can imagine that. There you go, Lipson! He's just got another! Please, let's just watch Iro here. That is so exciting. Beamy has found Fuzzface, but he was the man on his own. Oba now be the only one for FaZe, but if Iro can keep chipping away at the boys in front of him, that's going to be excellent. Uber from afar, tapping away. Nicely done. Good damage, but no kills. His vest screwed, helmet screwed, no smokes. He looks like a dead man walking, but hey, it's Uber. He can still out-aim most people. Northern Lights on the pull-up, though. Raise Your Edge on the other side. They had this compound, so those pre-nades, that damage being done is truly brutal for the Northern Lights.
No one else really you can go for the Northern Lights apart from crash into this, so exciting times ahead to see if they do survive it through. Great within that
у бах
compound.
лишився.
The players have actually made use of the level 3 gear. We are keeping track of the opposing compound because Ira in that 1 versus what was 3, now down to 2 outside of the building. You've just seen him drop. Rip's already taken damage. He's got a second. If he gets Apocalypse, that's all 3 of
watch Iro. He's going 1v4 in a damn finals day right now. He's pulled up to the compound. He's the only man. He lost Vex on the way, and he's still doing work. You can see Northern Lights still trying to crash this. He's tagged up from the bystanders. They can see this from further away, and I think Apocalypse might have a good idea where he is, but how's that put him on the circle? He is in, so I guess that's the interesting factor. He's got no util left. Batulins and Spyro are kind of stuck here. They're trying to find a way in, but Raise Your Edge have hard cover. They should be pretty safe. Let's see if they use some util to maybe crack this open. Got a couple of smokes, a couple of bits and pieces here and there. Monkey's getting interested. There's a doozy coming over to back them up. So probably flash, and they should push it. Shiv's there. Yeah, flash and go. Here we are. Spyro falls away. Clears the angle, gets the flush on deep, but it's the ones who are standing we worry about. Now a doozy, the only one alive, if I'm not mistaken. Spatulans tries to shuffle away.
That's all he really can do at this moment. Put the smoke down and pray for survivability. The bystanders, it would take
Come on, Iro, you absolute
just a complete throw for them to lose this at this point. Iro knows that he's on very limited grounds though, to be able to get this one, especially with how many angles the bystanders are holding. It's who dies first and who do you decide to die to. You can actually nip around that wall and maybe get involved and try and hide. The bystanders finally do open up onto... Has he actually got out of this?
Nice.
There's no...
He's done it!
Oh my god, you monster!
He absolutely...
You monster!
No. No. You don't do that on a championship Sunday.
That's 9 kills. He has
that is
9
a nutter.
goddamn kills. That's absolutely sick work from Iro.
If the bystanders do this as well, he'll actually pick up second place. If he can just hide away and somehow survive. No, he does not.
Nice try.
But third.
Не за канал.
Excuse me,
Jumped them a
fourth. Yeah.
Це
place.
саме 10
God damn,
відкинуть.
that was sick work.
Ні, 4.
Oh, we'll play this one out for the top 3.
А, 4 проти 1.
Standing against Raise Your Edge.
Тих
How much
3
damage can
зараз
you
будуть
really do
розвалювати.
before you find the final bosses, which will be the bystanders with how much map control they currently have. Clammy on the opposing side. Tries to make it down the stairs, but the SWAT team has arrived. Knock, knock, wake, wake. Thank you very much. Out we go into the open. And the fight will begin. The smokes
4
will
на
go
4.
down. And really, there is absolutely no world the bystanders should lose this. They're all the way up again. I mean, there may even be an opportunity where they just say, you know what? We're playing for money here. Don't bother giving any more frags. Just take it to the blue and leave it as that. Unfortunately, it's been a little bit overshadowed by, and a win's a win, no matter which team it is. But Ira's last stand was absolutely phenomenal for a team that is playing tooth and nail to pick up as... Wait, there's no way you do this, Monkey.
Monkey.
Nah,
You up to some tricks here? No. Nah. Okay. I got nervous for a second though, but well done to the bystanders. 9 kills, so equaling the entirety of what Iro did. I mean, yeah, I think
Crazy.
We didn't see enough of it. I just want to watch that fight all the time. I understand it's hard to spectate those sort of things, but good lord, he put himself in the best position possible. Yeah, if this is the caliber we're getting, Rich, we're on for a good day, right?
It's one of those things where we look at it and we start playing the numbers game. Teams that are up at the top were unfortunately having a bit of a rough time. Liquid going out in first, but 16th first, dying like that with don't think any kills towards the side of it.
None.
It is tough at the top. You have to stand your ground and put your feet in the ground to say, okay, let's take it on and tackle it. But when you've got TSM doing quite well, N's picking up a few frags also. This is going to be a wild day. I'm intrigued to see how this is actually settled off, especially for game number 1. It's setting up for a fun tournament.
All right, let's wrap it up over here and head back to the boys to talk us through everything that went on and give us that kind of overall start to the final day.
Absolutely. What a game to start things off here for our final day, as we have, yes, bystanders do get themselves the victory, and that is important for them to try and move up in terms of the tiers when it comes to prize pool. However, there is other stories going on that are very impactful up towards the top. Let's take a look at the highlights here, as FaZe lose one early, but that's by the by. TSM did huge work in this game for us, which means now they are going to be joining that top pack for a shot at the championship.
Yeah, I mean, TSM, or should we say Iro, did a phenomenal job. Of course, it's a team effort, but Iro did certainly put in the last gear there, the 6th gear on, and just like went off on everyone. I think he had 9 kills in total, which is just amazing on a championship Sunday like this. And that is going to put TSM up there towards the top now, fighting against the other teams that we know were up there before. Liquid, FaZe. We saw Liquid, of course, go out early as well.
Yeah, makes everything more spicy, I suppose, Martin, when some of the teams that are rivaling for the top are getting some big numbers put on the board here. FaZe had a pretty decent campaign throughout this game, all things considered. They did not have the easiest time rotating into some of these circles.
Now, overall, this area here and the terrain in this area between these two comps is extremely flat here. So you really have to make sure you take grounds while you're at it. But Kiliakai also an extremely good effort here, taking out Ents by himself. Very well played, but here is the Iroh show, and it really started early on. And that was amazing to see how well he was able to play that as well. Bystanders, though, able to take home a victory here, and they that might put their campaign up. It's going to be great for them. If that would have worked and Bystander wasn't on the southwest, FaZe Clan could have been looking at more points. But this makes it effectively a best of 3 for the championship here today, honestly.
And those were some of the kills that Iroh was able to pick up towards the end and finally gets Apocalypse on the very edge. Unfortunately for him, from that point on, it was very difficult for him to try and get into those final circles. Because as Avenger is mentioning for us here, in this terrain, it is so open. There aren't really many cover points to take unless you were towards the edge of the circle.
Yeah, totally. It's super hard, and of course we know that Iroh was in that comp. I didn't have much to work with, but we saw him trying to get out of there. He got shot by Yort from Bystanders a little
Team
bit.
Liquid 0 очків, Торнадо 0, Наві 0. Самі перші команди здохли.
Get themselves 19 points on the board, but what is basically equal to a win anyway. TSM 18 points for a second place.
19 очок, саме перше місце.
14 kills going their way. Just fantastic stuff to start off the day.
That's insane, considering that they only got 4th place. Honestly, it's such a well play by them. And imagine if they're able to have a few more guys alive and some utility, they could potentially have smoked up and pushed the fields and made a play for that. But 9 kills for Iroh, 6 for Beamy. Absolutely insane here to start off the day with.
I suppose, Martin, you said that they were going to get 4 wins throughout the day. I think an 18-point game, yeah, that's. It's not quite, it wasn't a win in terms of standings, but 18 points for one game, 1,100 damage coming in for Iroh. That's good enough, Martin, for the first game.
Yeah, it's good enough, but I was talking to Fex mainly, and Fex was just talking a lot of, he was just saying a lot of memes, actually, just joking around and they were by high spirits, honestly. So I think them going into this with the high spirits and just saying, let's just do it today. Let's do it our best. And this is going to be a very good setup for that. They have 3 more games to go. The momentum based off this amount of kills and clutches that Iroh did in a single match there is just going to be nuts.
Oof. When I see performances like that, I get a little bit of chills running through me. That was amazing stuff there for our first game. And don't forget, at home, you guys can be involved as well. You can have your Steam account attached to your Twitch account, and you could be earning some esports points along for the extra stuff for the Pick'em challenge that is currently going on. And if you haven't picked your teams already, then you're not going to be able to pick them now. But if you've got yourself the winner later on, you're going to be able to claim yourself a lot of points as well. We're going to go to a short break, ladies and gentlemen, and when we return, we have our second Miramar of the day here for PCS2 EU.
Okay, you guys look amazed. We should have finished that. Let's do it again. Should have finished that faster. Sometimes on the battleground, everything doesn't go as planned. Let's watch a few moments from the group stage. Ah, yes, I remember this one. So now energy needed to rotate out of rush shock, and there's an obstacle on the way.
Oh no, oh no. Oh no. And the worst thing is they had no idea he was there. I don't even think they see him on the way. It's like intentional. That's so unfortunate.
Red line. Last opportunity to try and qualify into the finals. Moving on in near shelter. Not too bad.
Oh no. And you
Wildcats dropping. M-Force. Chasing.
Oh no, remember this one. You got the 2v1, but look at who gets the weapon first.
Up for Rafa. He grabs it. Going for Rupture.
Rupture's like, no, get away from me, get away from me.
Get away.
Ah!
here, Unity taking a good dip, really good dip here actually.
That makes pretty good sense. Pretty smart to play with Unity out on the right side.
No!
You see that? That's good.
Всем привет! Хочу поддержать команду Face Clan на PCS2. Я все верю, у вас получится. And let's do winner chicken dinner.
Only one team can be on top. Face Clan.
Всем командам желаю стабильной и красивой игры, но я в свою очередь буду топить за Нави.
Hi guys, Silas here. Let's go Team Adepts and enjoy PCS2.
Let's go raise your head. The French
Ёпта, що це?
Good luck.
Ціла челюсть зубів нахрен.
NLT, good luck. I hope you win.
Мисек якийсь, блін.
Some fantastic channels there for some of our teams as well. And we got to see some ridiculous little plays going on as well. I loved the phase car randomly coming in against Unity on towards a pretty popular dip, to be fair. And that's how that's going to go. Let's talk about our next match, of course, then. We've got Avenger and Frost with me here. Team AFK back, ready to go for our next Miramar match. And considering what we've seen so far, Martin, now our top pack isn't looking all four-ish, it's looking a bit five-ish.
Європа якісь жлоби, ти розумієш? Десь АПАК сьогодні йшла трансляція, давали трохи ті очки. Дві, закінчився перша ігра, і вони навіть не дали очок. Вони тоді і купони не давали, тепер очки не дають, якісь, блін, жлоби нахрен.
Over the kind of average of 3 games, you're gonna have to really be consistent in those last games if you want to take it home here. You cannot go out in 16th, 17th, or 15th, 16th place with 0 kills. So you really have to step up. And I'm curious to see how they're gonna be able to. I mean, Shift W actually really did a valiant effort here in the last game.
Yeah,
саме четверті,
I think even every single time I see these players like Kilikai and Zoka, it reminds me just how deep that roster is with, some veteran names, but then also these guys that are able to put up big fights that we saw in the previous game.
Yeah, I mean, Brexco and Itzquist they're very familiar to us, but Soccer and Kilikai coming in here, they're currently the top killers
Саме піднялись на дві позиції, на четвертому. Team Liquid на першій, Face Clan на другому, Shift W на третьому та сам на четвертому. Team Liquid і Face Clan розділяє все одне очко.
Just amazing players from both of those guys.
I'm going to stick with you for a moment, Frost, here, because, of course, Team Liquid and FaZe Clan are quite close to one another. Now, yes, there are still 3 games remaining. However, Martin and I were talking about the situation in APAC that came down to tiebreakers. Can you update me a little bit on where Team Liquid and FaZe are right now in terms of points and tiebreaker situations?
Yeah, so currently we have Liquid on the top with 165 points and FaZe Clan on 164, just behind there. Liquid has 99 kills while FaZe Clan has 105. But this is pretty close, and it could go down to a tiebreaker here as well, of course. And talking about the tiebreakers, we know that the first tiebreaker will be kill points. The second tiebreaker will be best performing match based on match points. Basically, the best match they had. And both Liquid and FaZe Clan has had a win with 14 kills each. So that would go on to the third tiebreaker, which would be best performing match based on kill points. And that is 14 kills for both of the teams. So that would go down to the fourth tiebreaker, which would be team kill points in the most recent match. If that would happen, that is. Right. I mean, we just gotta wait and see. There's still 3 games to go. Anything could happen. And of course, we have more teams that is towards the top and fighting for the win as well.
It's a ridiculous situation to think about, but it could occur because we've seen something not too dissimilar literally today. So that's kind of interesting to kind of think about. Thank you very much, Frost, for that. Well, gentlemen, we are now going into our next Miramar game here as everybody is shaping up and good to go. This is the final Miramar game, so the final opportunity for all of these teams to claim themselves some good points on the desert. So without further ado, we are going to head to the plane, head to the game, and head to our commentators to bring us all the action. I think Floof's going crazy again in the background. Let's run away from Floof as fast as possible, just like she is after a toy. And we go to Miramar here as Sims and Pansy are going to bring us all of the action. Take it away, guys, for game number 2 of the day.
Thank you very much. And we are heading towards the more northern side of Miramar. I feel like we've had a great deal of more southern-based play in past, but this suits the teams to go a little further towards the north here. Hell, even maybe a circle towards the north could be quite some fun. We've had a few that have been weird and wonderful, and if anything, all I know is game one has set up this lobby
Не
to
дають
be
ніхера
so
балів.
thrilling. I know Martin says, you know, oh, those points, they look so few, but I promise you, some of these teams are showing the capability to close that gap themselves. Iro alone has brought TSM back into the conversation here. Joined by Fex towards the end, those two did brilliantly. Vard initially engaging so head on, but look at the space they finally got here. How often do we see this? TSM not having teams breathing down the back of their necks. So often they are surrounded on all fronts, but maybe this lobby is simply a good one for them when they don't have teams right beside them. But then we have to look towards the top two, right? The behemoths of FaZe and Liquid. Now, FaZe falling a little early, but Liquid falling first has created the perfect time for some of these teams to try and push that final bit of energy into those points. I don't know what to expect here, Rich. I mean, we've got the circle kind of closing in somewhere between what Chumacera and Picardo, I guess, is the center point. But I don't know, man. This is a wild one.
Before we'll kind of talk deeper about the circle, I want to expand on something Martin just said, and it really does put it into perspective of how this is going to go down. We have our top 5 teams within 21 points of each other. We are now basically into a best of 3 for 50 grand, if you want to kind of picture it that way. That's crazy. That is crazy. Yeah, this is
and they can all do it. I don't think
really
there's one
can,
team in there I go, nah. Every single one of them could do that.
The worry for me is that even 16th place could really, really screw up your chances of winning it. Like, I think Liquid have got away with everyone else not, having a stonker. Like, let's say they haven't gone off on game number 1 and overtaken them completely. Yes, it is a fragile lead of only 1 point, but they haven't had a team completely, scale them and jump above. TSM has certainly scaled a bit of a mountain with the frags that they put in the bag and then tagged up by Iro, getting them that top 4 position. So credit where credit is due. The man had an absolute blinder of a game for a championship Sunday. But yeah, I don't know if it's rough to count out Navi and Raise Your Edge from winning this at the moment when you think that Navi's in 6th and they are 35 points behind first place. That's a game or two in itself when we talk about point statistics. And when there's only 3 remaining, to be able to do that, Navi would have to pull their back-to-back synergy together now and also hope that no one else has a really good game. Like, Navi need to do basically just hit the world right now in order to claim championship here.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And as much as I hate the concept in some ways, I'll disprove it in others, but the point is, yes, for someone like, especially Raise Your Edge and Navi, they're banking on the likes of TSM, Chieftec, FaZe, and Liquid all having bad games, whereas that top 4 can operate under the assumption of if we have an exceptional game, we can change the odds. And that's what I want to talk about, is exceptional circumstance. Because
надумали кинути 2000
but Iro doing that is going above what we'd expect an average player to deliver. 5
Я
kills
думав, того не
is a
буде.
very good delivery for any top tier team end game against an incredibly competitive lobby. Now, anything above that, you've overperformed. Him going 1v4 to put his team back in a position to do well is something outstanding. Now, should he be able to do that every game? No. But you said it, it's only a best of 3 here. Couple more good games and this could be everything, but let's keep our eyes on the prize. Who's in that center point here, Rich? Because we've kind of laid the land. Let's talk about the game in front of us. So I see FaZe moving early, ETG, obviously they kind of got keys to the castle in this regard. They get that great start. Liquid have a really good initial position here, but we saw that hard shift after that, I think it was second circle, which kind of threw the likes of FaZe and Liquid, who had that center point, in all kinds of trouble. That was when that mad shift happened. They lost players on both sides. Omakun was sweeping up points. So even with a centralized position now, it could change so much with one hard shift.
It could, and that's the main worry that teams will have to be aware of. The hard shift and the possibility of it coming through and just being in a position that you're not completely boxed in with teams just surrounding you on all fronts so that you have no real way of escape. You need a means and a plan to be able to be mobile on this map and move into a better position should you need to. When I look at this circle, I suppose if you're thinking of an IGL's perspective, you've got to think it can't go to Los Leones. And a lot of teams are also in that mindset of pulling away from it. So you would go deeper, and it would take an absolute just cluster of a strike on this circle to move all the way to Los Leones and give you that hard shift to the east. It would be bad. Right. It would break a lot of teams because the rotation would just be crazy. You'd have to take either a wild southerly shift and maybe hit a coastal road, and then you're going to be in trouble of anyone that wants to try and set up some sort of entrapment along those darker hillsides. If you go towards the north, it's more safer to be sitting in the north now, so that's why you might have the likes of the Northern Lights going for a bit of a split in and around Monte Nuevo. The bystanders could also do the same. If we do get a northwest shift, I mean, hell, Navi are going to be absolutely laughing. They can come down from the mountainside on that edge of El Pozo and just work the way down through the fields, through the farms. TSM will be slightly late to the party, but again, they're already inside this circle. They can do a late loot if they really want to and really get geared up to the 9s here and play this aggro towards the end. It's entirely their call on in which way they want to do it. Ents will be an interesting one. They're going for the old style of play. This is a very reminiscent Ents play where they just completely play edge, stay away from the head of the party. It's intriguing to think how it will treat them. You know, in the next circle, would it be favorable? Will it put them in the best position possible? You could say the same for Shift W. Again, they're away from the party. They're all the way down. Valdemar, first victim is found. Lazar onto BSD. Blaze, and you know, it's an IW. It's your sub 10th position team, so it's not going to do too much damage, but it does eliminate further players for people up top. So within that circumstance, it does play a very minor factor. But you have this huge road that runs basically from the left-hand side, or the west of El Pozo, and it cuts this circle diagonally from northwest to southeast. It goes all the way to Los Leones. Exactly. I'm going to cut Los Leones out of this and say the circle won't go that way. So anywhere in and around that road, where all the teams are already loitered, if we do get a central circle, man, I don't know how you breach that circle. I really don't. I think you're playing for scraps on the edge.
I'm with you. I think looking at the teams, they know that road, that north road from Chumacera, you know, not from Chumacera, but north of Chumacera, is where it's going to be. Every team is magnetizing towards this. It does become that divide of north and south, a little bit of east and west to it, but that's where they're all banking on. A lot more heading towards maybe Monte Nuevo side, but bear in mind this was a northern plain path, so more of the teams will be focused, or at least have more entry way towards the more northern portion. We don't often see those kind of swings all the way around, or all the, you know, so hold on, Bard. Careful now, Tabs. Quite proficient at these bits of work. We did see Batulins in the feed there. That's for Northern Lights. Tire out. This may... No, Tab had already backed away from that fight, so Vard is in danger. Oh, okay, no, he's in real danger now. That car's smoking. Tab suddenly back, realizing there could be some, you know, meat on the menu. Tornado Energy having fights elsewhere. This is FaZe, cleanup duty. Vard's just been knocked, not flushed yet, but probably going to be doing so. He was very open, very vulnerable. I don't think he's recoverable, and I think he knows that. Unfortunate for him, the tire spin out just kind of cut him away, and Na'Vi, well, that's a point for them, and a big loss for TSM. Vard was instrumental before. Chumacera is the focalized point. Talk to us, Rich.
This is where it gets really fun, because Chumacera Town Center, the top northern side of it, we know we don't get circles. You have those mountains that play around it, and essentially it just moves away slowly but surely. Where do you want to set up shop? It has to be around that area. You have two focal points for this. It'll be to the northwest and to the southeast. Blaze's territory, just... You want to be that line that we spoke about, that running diagonal road. You want to be south of this. It's going to go south. There's no way you're going to get that hard shift towards the north, but whereabouts in Chumacera do you want to be? The town center, the end fights, the end game, it's going to be messy. It's going to be dire. You have to make sure you're in a position, a 2-2 split, that you're controlling maximum amount of land. You now have to deny access for other teams. Everyone is just going to bomb center and sit this next circle out. You just have to make sure that you have a damn good circle. You have a damn good compound to be able to take with you to the next circle. This will be, yeah, this is going to be dicey. It really is.
Yeah, it truly is. You can see FaZe, Omicron, Tornado Energy, Shift W, they're all congregating towards the same area. TSM slotting in right next to FaZe as well. They are not far away from each other. TSM having another loss. Alia is there towards Miraku. That's a flush. They're down to 2 now. It is the Dastardly duo from the last game, but you probably wouldn't have wanted to be in that scenario sub 15 minutes. Shift W about to get some pressure, though. They're looking towards the Wildcats. Braxico is on it. We saw what Kiliakai did before. We saw what these guys can achieve. They are deadly when they're on it. And Chris, the man, is an absolute animal when called upon. But the Wildcats are in good positions. They have the hard cover. They're watching these boys pull up. They've got them pinned on the back lines. And then on the other side, it's the likes of T-Bone maybe having a little bit of a look over, considering, what's going on over here? We've heard some cars. We've heard some shots. What's happening?
I'll just go quiet for a moment. Smoke will be there to try and bait and hide the footsteps for the reposition. 3-1 split, and again, communication will be vital here. Draw the enemy in and try and get the info back. Levent, the only player inside the end of the building. Depends if they've watched this full pull-up and they know and have accounted for all the players in the positions that they'll be taking residency within. I didn't anticipate that kind of goes on for a hell of a lot of time. There's no way Shift W wants to lose any players. Try and let IW get over aggressive and make the first footstep. Hopefully the wrong footstep for the side of Shift W. Take advantage of that and maybe push on the knock, but I wouldn't anticipate too much action going down, especially given how close to the central point of the circle is. It's in a bit of a beveled area, so you won't go too far. And again, you don't want to make too much noise, because otherwise teams will just set up on the ridgeline. There's not too much hard cover, so that'll be a timed thing, but still, it's a possibility. Razor Edge have gone all the way to the south, or should I say at least the most south compared to any other team, so they're waiting for that huge compound on top of the mountainside on the darker hills and hoping the southern hard shift hits. Adepts furthest up north bar WS, who actually one of their players is playing off Monte Nuevo, and I suppose that's again hoping for the northern hard shift and have the emergency backup plan. TSM, FaZe, Omicron, Northern... It's just... throw your marbles into the middle and see which one comes out on top. And with Chumacera being the central point, we're going to have the town fight. And again, we won't be getting more towards that northern side, so whereabouts would it land? We'd have to, if we're going to put us chips down on the board, you've got to stick to the high side of Chumacera, and that's where Tornado Energy have just banked themselves in along 4 other teams.
Now, look at this. Remember, and you said it, the high area. This is high ground fights happening. FaZe are actually shuffling towards the other side. Maybe a late game 2-2 split here. That's quite bold. That's very brave to hold this. This compound is a little isolated. It's on a bit of an island. I don't want to say compound. It's one building. So, again, very strong position, though. It gives them a little bit of maneuverability, actually. But it does put them right next to Liquid, right next to Omicron. That's a deadly couple of teams to be very near. And Omicron, same 2-2 split idea. A little bit more disconnected. They're way further back up here. You can see the T-Bone and Gemty kind of duo up on this side. And the others are down here. Page and Vascu over by FaZe and Liquid. So very, very split in these situations. This is bold coming into late game with this now. I say late game, it's just because there's 16 teams in this circle. So simply put, there won't be as many available areas. A couple of these teams actually focusing towards the city area. This is going to be wild. Okay, so WS and bystanders, they're on the hillside having a little bit of a scuff, a little bit of a, biff over there. They're just having a little bit of a battle. Na'Vi have rotated around a little bit more, a little further south. Now Blaze, trying to creep up here. Coming quietly towards church, slipping in on a Sunday. Turned up late, didn't have the good shoes on, missing the nades. That's going to be a little bit of a warning signal to ETG that, hey, something's not right here. That's not a bell tolling. That's a goddamn grenade. Blaze, though, putting the smoke up. They just going to stay a little quiet here. I feel like maybe they wanted a little bit of a better entry to this, and I don't blame them. That was far from perfect. They still have, I think, Rip out there in the background, just kind of overwatching this, trying to ensure that he can relay that information. And here's that stalemate. It's been going on for a while now. They're just locked into this one. I don't think either are really going to move until they have to.
I'm surprised ETG didn't tackle this one head on. You'll have heard the vehicle.
Or
at least some portion of it. You can turn the engines off, of course, and roll it across, but you definitely have heard something. That's the initial opening nade. Finally, the stalemate may no longer continue. As the teams do push in, there's a response from the opposing side. Zocker will fall. Levent holds the angle for the cross to try and catch any more that want to fly this way. Another nade goes down in a hope and a bid that someone tanks this one up. It strikes and it finds its target. So Zocker loses his life as they try to make the push. How much further they can really go? They got one man out of position. He finds through the window. There's a potential that Rupture can also see into this.
You want to push on that, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're just kind of pressuring now to deny the res, which I think shouldn't go through. It doesn't, so the confirmation's there at least.
Oh, baby. We're going north.
Well, that is... No. What?
Alright, game on, ladies and gents. We've gone far north. It's a shift and a half. Omicron gonna pull back the two. You see T-Bone and Gemty, center of your screen, right. They're heading to Vasco and Page to try to garner some early territory. FaZe's probably happy with their early move to be a little bit more centralized. I wonder if Gemty makes it. No. But it's ETG to get it. I wonder who gets the flush. It's Uber. So FaZe on the board now. 2 kills. Not a bad start at this point. Quite respectable early game here. ETG are losing life as well. A little bit of here and there. But this will be Shift W holding on towards this compound. So far, so good for them. And they know that Rupture's pretty isolated. Going to probably encourage the push to happen pretty soon. He's in danger. Not sure if he can get away scot-free in this one. He's trying to find any bit of safety to fall away from this as he can. But Northern Lights, Liquid, FaZe, TSM, Omicron, Adepts, these suddenly become the big names that have to be on the forefront of your mind because they hold the position. Breaching clear.
Tries to hold position, but it doesn't come through. Okay, so Shift W eliminate the team and take the compound, but they got all the work in the world to do. And just so you know, Raise Your Edge have heard this, and they've sent 2 players over in a 2-2 split to overwatch this compound to maybe try and pick up points as they do exit it. There isn't any water in play, as you can tell from the circle, but for this one, I kind of have to look at it and say I'd be playing it and preempting as if the top side of Chumacera was water. You know that the next circle, it shouldn't be in. Like, I'd be absolutely gobsmacked if somehow that rest of it would actually lay to waste. So you want to be moving forward. This is going to be a very barren and very open wasteland when we move towards that more central or northern side of the circle. It's going to be very, very right. There's not a lot of hard cover, to be fair.
3 напарника живых, то Сеня сдох.
Well, they're between Ensign Adepts, Team Liquid, the biggest and baddest compound in the circle, and Northern Lights just to their northwest. Everyone else in the south, this is a dungeon gauntlet. This is an absolute dungeon gauntlet.
Navi, Lost Senu, you saw that mad peek from Maxi. Nice little swing from Kemba, though. That's gorgeous. Double dips on it. This is hard to make these peeks. Your gun barrel just pops up on that window ledge, but that's brilliantly played so far. Kemba is just about to pull off almost a 1v3 if he got that, but Tab denies it. Goes in, gets the flush. No more fun for you, but Navi are down to the final members. Win streak have cost them so much here, and Kilyakai is having some problems. Nailed it. Get out of the car. Clib's going to get the kill on that one, so Liquid showing a little bit of themselves in the kill feed. We haven't seen a great deal from them. Shift W do go down early. That's something to note here.
Navi, I don't really know how much more they can actually do here. Everyone's just holding them at gunpoint. It's a bit rough to say the least, but the damage that was done from Kemba, hell, especially onto his old roster as well, that's to put a smile on your face. No matter which way you're going to be cutting it.
Tied up.
Yeah, they are. I mean, thankfully, FaZe have actually moved into a compound across the road, so they won't be held out by many teams. TSM directly in front of them. Raise Your Edge will hold for a second because the pull-ups here. All 4 players straight out of the vehicles and into the gunfight. Page, is he aware? You've got to turn around, my dude. If you can get across there, then you realize they're actually below the hillside. The nade and the headshot does the damage, and it pushes him back. T-Bone's here to try and stand his ground, but they are getting murdered. First player falls. He just wasn't aware that they were so damn close. He was looking elsewhere. It all comes down to T-Bone to try and hold the line. The first connection is found, but instantly there is a response. Asku round the corner, but whiffs it round the side, and a doozy shuts it down instantly.
Okay, FaZe might push this. I'd be very surprised if FaZe don't push this. They've seen the bloodshed. They've seen the vulnerability, but it's a risk. And risk at this point, when you're this close with a team, you know, this close behind you, it's hard to muster that sort of courage, and they don't. They've fallen away from it. You saw 80, you saw Gustav getting a little bit curious. Maybe if they saw a little bit more of a back and forth they felt they could capitalize on, they might have been there. But they've fallen away. And with the circle staying towards the south here, closes in towards Liquid. Bit of TSM, but FaZe needs to find a little bit more room, I'd imagine. They like to spread a little bit late game. They wouldn't like to be just cornered in towards the same compound with Gustav, and I think that's 80 over there. So they might look at other options, and one of those options would be currently where TSM reside. But it's the God duo. The duo I would not want to tussle with at the moment, and Iro's been on one. He's feeling confident. He is such a scary man to play against. Nades for now, but maybe guns for later. At the moment, Northern Lights, Bystanders, and Tornado Energy in the northwest side, as Fuzzface and Uber do make it across. Not completely unscathed, but safe enough. And they may not be able to do what they like to do of that, you know, little bit of a spread. Not massive, but, you know, a little bit of territory play. I don't think they're going to be able to here.
Love the smoke tunnel. Tried to make it through. It's a damn good job. For Navi, that's not a good job at all. 12th position. Honestly, that could be their competition ruin for that crown at the end of it to take home this major. And we spoke about before this, it could have been a shot in the dark and just a bridge too far, but now going out in 12th position, I think that's all she wrote, and Navi will just be playing for placement across the next 2 games. The Deep holding for a moment because he realizes what's coming his way. With all the smokes down, you have to assume there's a team wandering this way. Clib with an AWM. Now that is a tantalizing prospect that I want to see shortly.
God, he sent a circle too.
It's pulled.
That's a nice nade. That's a very nice nade. Good work from Deep. There's the double. Can he get the rest though? Beamy, yellow. Looking like they want to get out of there. Looking drastically uncomfortable, but they can keep Deep pinned. Beamy trying to get a quick heal off, but that blue's chunking. I don't think he's got the oh my bloody... What? How did Deep pull that off? And somehow Northern Lights appear from nowhere and try and save their buddy who's lost in the blue, loses life in the end to Jeems. They've got a bit of high ground on this angle. They've got a bit of elevation to look over here. That northern side of the compound they hold has that hillside that rolls off it in quite a steep fashion. So they have really good vision across towards where the Northern Lights are. And the Northern Lights aren't in yet either. They have to continue forward if they want to get into the circle. This was way earlier. This was the car flipping over. I don't care about that. What I care about is what FaZe are up to. Are they trying to spread and find a new way forward? Yes. But ETG are looking towards the south. This is on the south side of the circle. Now, at the moment, with the circle as it stands, Rich, it's gone a little bit more towards the west. It's kind of shifted back over towards the very edge of the town. Iroh's gone on a mad move. He's remembered yesteryear. He's like, DA, is that you calling? Time to send it full circle. Time to go to the middle. I'm off. Goodbye. My Turkish brethren have called me. I must go. And there he is. Slap bang middle. Great positioning picked up, but it is just him. And Vex has just been found by Uber. So TSM are banking on Iroh once again to do something brilliant with. And honestly, with that position, it ain't bad. Blaze on the pull-up. Early nade comes out. Doesn't find his target, but they know the intent behind it.
Really, really, really need to step on board with FaZe Clan because what is about to go down could be very decisive for their position. ETG have wormed their way all across the map, and I'm glad we're on with this POV because they're the next ones that will find them. Once this building's clear, they then have to deal with the final boss outside at the walls, waiting with open arms. That's 4 free points if they can pick them up, but FaZe Clan have been damaged moving into this, so we shall see. However, for some unorthodox reason, they brought the vehicles to the front, which has given FaZe Clan the audible cue that the players are lingering in a 2-2 split as well. They're going to be picked apart and pulled apart. Batulin's in the back does go down to example. Team Liquid's just holding and watching this one with bated breath. I can already see grenades being cycled on the side of Liquid, hoping that someone tries to take the fortress away from them. With the elevation that they have, the big boy sniper rifle lurking in the window. It's not somewhere you want to be. Mexi once again with the M249. Clearly that's just the defensive last stance. Flips in, magnetizes towards Ira. This could be very... Oh. That's a misstep.
Yeah, way up in the open. That's a huge fumble. Maybe getting a little bit too tunnel visioned. Feeling safe when really there was no safety, but it's still Jeems operating. I'm seeing Liquid getting knocks, but I'm not seeing too many flushes, which actually is going to be a problem late game because you're maybe setting up others to capitalize. But that Ents pick is what you want. It might slow down Ents from feeling so free to peek towards you. And as the circle closes in, Ents will have to move forward into the line of sight of Liquid. And just about anyone else who was on that northern section too. So Liquid are about to get a lot of attention. They better be ready for teams potentially just having to push it, which is what Ents are doing. Let's get on board with Ents quickly because they're about to push right towards Liquid, but Fuzzface is helping out. I'm going to look at the map while we watch a fight that doesn't really matter that much in comparison to the leaderboard. As Northern Lights, yes, they are backs to the blue, but Ents are being surrounded by Liquid. Jeems is in the off angle, Clib and Ibi are together. So that's going to be the big battle there, but who's still standing for Ents? Squeaky, Pixu, and I think Rustamar, excuse me, Squeaky and just Rustamar. Here we go. You can see him right in the compounds. This is a hard area to hold all by yourself. Down to 3. Here we go. And goodbye ends. Nicely helped by Liquid in the end. They made a great bit of work out of that. And then look at James. As soon as that fight's over, he's back to business. He's got his suit and tie on. He's ready to go. It's all in a day's work for him. As Liquid do maintain that compound, Noki's got a little closer, but now FaZe have to get past ETG. The next fight we should be watching rather than Northern Lights, as Northern Lights is still very much towards the lower end of this table, so don't worry too much about them. James is killing him anyway. Noki is the snake. He's going to try and probably play quietly, so he may not want to get involved in a fight anytime soon. Yes, here we go. Because ETG have to leave this area, Rich, so do FaZe.
They've been here for quite some time, and they're essentially bottlenecked into one position because of the wall that runs parallel to the building that they've actually ejected themselves from. There's only real one point of contact you'll be staring at. Fights are still unfolding on the edge with the snakes and all the kind of scrappy battles that have unfolded previously, but it's FaZe versus ETG because off the back of that, you might see Liquid fall into it in some way. 2 knocks, 2 kills. I like that. That's point in the bag. But Tulins comes through, so they add them up. 10 kills for Northern Lights is... well, I mean, from the position, it puts them up the board at least. Out of the smoke, we finally go. Uber down, full space down. I'd see Gustav forced to hold the line. The level 3 gear that he's wearing will provide the cover that's needed. With a flashbang down, if he pushes this, it could be deadly. It could be brutal, but I'd see steps up to the challenge.
That's going to get them back in first place, if I'm not mistaken. If they get all those flushes, I think they're back on it. But if I'm Liquid and I see this, I push this. This is a risky maneuver. They are making a huge risk here. Noki can see James, but it's just James. James is going to try and peacock for this compound and not let it give away the game that Clib and Ibby have pushed to FaZe. Let's switch over to those two because they're the important ones. They flexed out a bit, but now they're falling away. They couldn't find FaZe quick enough, so they don't want to leave James on his own too long because this is probably happening. Now here comes the issue. Iroh, he's on the low ground and James hasn't seen it. James is probably dead here. I don't see how James comes out of this alive unless something miraculous happens. Iroh, though, on the prowl. He did so well before, but his options, they're a little rough. He wants to probably play it slow, be the third man to the party. Let's say Noki kicks off. Yeah, game on. But James on this island, I don't know how he holds this, but Clib, he still has that big green. And late game, this becomes more powerful. This becomes even better, as a knock can make every bit of difference here. So FaZe on the outskirts, they're going to have to move forward. If we could get on board with FaZe, we could see their utility. Maybe a couple of smokes could create an avenue of approach for them. But they'll have to negate the presence of Clib, Ibby, and James.
Ira once again confirming top 4 placement for his team. Position was very weakened, but what a great time to actually run from the safety of the shack into a better position, a position that's not been noted by Team Liquid whatsoever. The smokes will be thrown at the wall, which denies vision to Team Liquid. It comes down to Clib. First bullet is sent that way. It looks like it's found a target, and Ibby will follow through onto Gustav. First contact found, first player knocked, falls back because of the HP. But it does allow 2 people to the compound's edge. The question is, where does Ira strike? Which target does he go for first? And when does Noki get involved in this? Nades will come from the side of James. Tries to find a target, but nothing's found. And all of a sudden, all 4 teams, well, the presence is noted, but they don't have full information on the location.
James might have to fall in with the others and give up some room in this compound because of that problem. And now suddenly it's game on. If I'm FaZe, I'm suddenly getting a little bit more interested. Iroh definitely will be, as Noki's given away the game that he's over on this side. So let's look at what we have left. 8C is here. Did they just get a res? They did. Gustav's back up. FaZe with 3. They are fighting to keep hold of first place. Liquid are like a point away right now. And Iroh could be the spoiler to all of this. Barreled up, looking deadly. FaZe have Uber, Gustav, and 8C, and they're about to go towards Iroh. This is such a tantalizing area. Of course they want it. They get all this room to flex around. But will Iroh hear the steps? I want to be on board with Iroh here. He's got the right eye peek. We saw what this can do in previous tournaments. Peeks up to the top, flashed up. Great util usage. That's stunning work from FaZe. Wait! They didn't check! Oh, Iroh just found 2. Liquid have to push now. Liquid know that there is weakness. They have to get some ground, and you can see him moving. They know it as well, but they know that Noki's still around. So now they know the lay of the land. Clib and Ibby have the information, and that util was great, but they didn't clear the corner. And now we see Noki being potentially spoiler to the top 2, the big dogs. He's here just lingering around. His gear's looking pretty nice too. Vest still healthy. Barrel all good. Helmet in place. And look at FaZe. They're trying to hold on to scraps here, Rich.
Can't believe he actually moved and adjusted so high. They had no vision on him. Gets them on the shoulder. Knocks two and slows them down, but Liquid don't capitalize on it. They stand their ground. They await the FaZe to make this move. Now, if Noki does find one, that will be game on for the side of Liquid. Instantly shut down, eliminated. 3 players of FaZe inside the base. 2 members of Team Liquid. One of them fully freed up. It's doing its job, Lauren. He's already got one.
That's ridiculously bold. He's been aggressive in a less than ideal scenario. Traded on by 80. Clib is there! But Clib goes down.
FaZe Clan взял перше місце.
13 kills. They were knocked, they were broken, they were beaten. They had a worse position on the circle. There was so much against them then. Iroh almost pulled off a 1v3. We didn't see it, but it was there. The flash came out, he was blind, but they just didn't clear those corners. So much tunnel vision, so much focus just got in their way, but that top 2 spot, Rich, I don't know how close this is going to be. I think FaZe just jumped back up. They were right close to each other before, and with that win on board, I don't know what to think of this, Rich. I'm loving it, though.
There's nothing much really to be said apart from 0 to hero. When we look at Liquid with a 16th place, instantly turn it round into a first. This could not be one of the most closest competitions that we have seen for quite some time.
Bloody hell. Right, enough from us. Head back to the boys, break it down. There's so much to be said.
Holy moly, what a finish to that game. FaZe versus Liquid, our top 2, duking it out towards the end, and FaZe manages to get themselves into an amazing spot there. But it did come through war after war. Let's take a look at the highlights here as well as we get down to business. Martin, what a game. Woo.
That was an absolutely insane game, and honestly, I was hoping for the Chumacer ending there with that, but Liquid, they were holding this compound down well. They were staying there for a long time, defending it well, and it ended around them. FaZe Clan was able to move around in an inferior position, as Pansy said, and able to kind of make some positional plays that just kept them just inside the circle, and multiple clutches with making sure that they had wrestlers coming up, and they stayed 3 towards the very end there. It was such an amazing play to see from that, honestly.
A lot of it just felt right for FaZe, Froz, when you looked at this kind of some of their movements towards the end. Great smokes to get themselves towards the compound, moving when they saw Jeems had got knocked, and then trying to capitalize on that. It all lined up really nicely.
I mean, time after time, FaZe was struggling in this game, I'd say, in terms of their position. They always had to chase the circle, but they always managed. And it was a few times where they barely made it. And we saw it towards the end, of course, Iroh. He almost won with freedom. I think it was 80 that was the last one standing with basically 1 shot, 1 HP or something like that. And that is how close it was to FaZe time after time, but they managed. And that is the important thing. Time after time, they managed to clutch it up, making sure that they could actually win the game. And they had to work so hard to get where they got to.
Yeah, definitely so. So very, very impressive. As you can see here, here's for Iroh's POV. Almost got the triple off the back of that. And what Pansy was saying in terms of the high angle that he was taking, Martin, was really important in that fight.
Yeah, it was super important. And also, it was kind of the bait and switch on the death box, that was the loot box that was on the ground, because we saw players actually look at that, and they were like, oh, somebody else killed him already. What happened there? And they had to kind of register that he was just in a different position, and he already had 2 knocks at that point, and they were so bruised and beaten up already. But look at this guy's 23 points for FaZe Clan and 14 for Liquid.
You know, that is, Martin, that's 23 big smackaroonies considering the situation. That is huge stuff. 14 points coming in for Liquid. They like the number 14 here when it comes to them gaining as many points as they can. Northern Lights actually showing up with 12 points going their way as well. But Froz, our top 2, juking and jiving. This is, with only 2 more games left, this is going to get down to the wire.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be down to these 2 teams. If they keep on playing like they're doing right now, we see that FaZe, of course, they're chasing the circles. Liquid, on the other hand, they're finding. They know where the circle is going, so they just go there straight away. We saw Liquid actually going to this compound. I think it was Circle 1 already, having that 2-2 split. And in Circle 2, they committed to this compound with all 4 of the guys on the team, of course. And they were holding it down very good. But in the end, you do know that holding down a compound like that, sometimes you can't find as many kills. And that's something that we saw FaZe doing, because they were running all around. They were looking. They needed to get those kills to get themselves into the next circle.
All right, and we do have our interview ready here from our previous 2 games as we have FaZe Gustav joining us. Hello, Gustav. You've got to feel good about that win.
That one felt pretty good. Holy moly.
Definitely. So talk to us about even just, wow, there's so many things to talk about. The approach to the compound, having to deal with Iro, just talk about everything in the final moments, because there was so many things that you guys had to do to get that win.
I was crazy. We have Etiquette pushing us, free man, and it was so chaotic. And then we had Iro almost destroying our game after we thought he left the rock because we flashed him, and then he was still there, and he almost got all 3 of us, but I think he turned on him. And we got both of the reses off. We actually was really expecting Liquid to push us there, because we are so close, and we thought, okay, they're just gonna destroy their own game just to try and kill us here. But they didn't do it, and we got all the reses off, and yeah, from there it was just it was so close.
Very interesting. Martin, question?
I actually want to ask, like, did the loot box in front of the rock with Iro, that you guys, because we saw you guys looking at it, did you think that like somebody else had killed him? It looked like it kind of created some sort of confusion because there's 2 guys looking at him and like, okay, he's not on the rock anymore.
I remember looking at it, like I just remember this picture like of that loot box actually, but I don't think we thought he died. We thought he like ran north of the ridge.
Okay,
right.
We definitely didn't expect him to still be on the rock.
No. All right.
Very interesting. Patrick?
Yeah, so yesterday you guys, it was kind of a similar situation as in this game. You guys had to chase every circle more or less, but it didn't work out yesterday at all. Today, in this game in particular, it's working out really good. What do you feel like has changed since yesterday for you guys?
I don't know if anything has changed. I think it's just PUBG sometimes. Sometimes even if you're one of the best teams, you can just have like a 10-point day because it's just PUBG. I think we're pretty much just playing the same as we did yesterday. Probably a little bit more hype today because like it's last day and there's so much on the line. But yeah, I would say it's the same game plan.
Is it a FaZe win today, Gustav?
If we win today?
Yes. Is it all the championship? Is it yours today?
Of course.
Fantastic stuff. Any shout outs before we let you go to the next games?
I mean, just so fans, they're always so supportive. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And FaZe Clan as well for taking good care of us.
Fantastic stuff. All right, good luck in your next 2 games, friend.
Thank you.
Negative like.
Yes, Danish. We know. All right. So, yes, very interesting, actually, to hear the perspective on them believing that Iro had left the rock, all things considered there, Martin. And that kind of judgment call in those moments could have literally been the difference between winning and losing. Crazy stuff.
For sure. I mean, also on top of that, they have been through so many fights already at that point that their vests, all of the vests they had were broken. It was literally down so obviously now they have a 20% reduction, and I think that made a huge difference. 80 would have been done if that wasn't for that kind of buff to the vests staying on and still giving that 20% reduction no matter if it's broken. So that was massive. And also, as I want to take away from this, Gusto's saying that he expected Liquid to push them just to kind of not throw their own game. He said throw their own game just to make sure that they would have a worse game. But I don't think he realized that they were too far away for that to happen. Like, and also they had to cross an opening where potentially they could run in the open and there was going to be a snake. I think they were hoping for Nuki to third party them while they had 2 knocks, and I actually kind of expected him to as well. He was on the verge to do so, and I feel like Liquid had the high ground control with the kind of firehouse roof and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. I mean, for us, when you look at that final situation, yes, of course, FaZe, as Martin is mentioning, could have said, we expected them to push us, but even just one person that is the snake in that kind of terrain, in that kind of area, will always put a little bit of doubt in your mind, I suppose, as a pro player. I mean, you've been in these situations before, surely.
I mean, the thing is, you're always expecting the snake to push there because that is the opportunity for that person to actually take control over the game. They see the 2 knocks. They should have the count. They should know there is only one up. Even if that guy is 100% HP, fully up, you should be pushing on that. You should make a move on that. That's your only winning move right now. Because when you take control over that, that's when you can make a move on Liquid. You know that they are far away. Nuki should have the information where Liquid was, the last two players. So he should have made a move, but it never happened. And sometimes it's hard because you never know what's happening, what's saying in the comms. Like, it could be the IGL saying, don't push that, let Liquid do the job instead. And there is so much to it that it's super hard to say, okay, this should have happened, but it didn't happen because of this, because there's just too many factors involved in this.
And Nuki was very impactful in this game, Martin. He took James out. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. And that could have been the difference between Team Liquid taking the win or FaZe taking the win towards the end. So every little thing to play for you.
I would say, like, if James, if he knew that that Nuki was there and he killed him, he won the 1v1 basically. Liquid would have pushed that, because obviously Nuki wouldn't have been there. They would have immediately pushed that. They would have completely taken over the grounds and the control there, and teams would have played spoiler and potentially taken out 8C, or even flushed the 2 knocks and then taking out 8C afterwards, just to get as many points as possible from that. So that was definitely the turning point, that Nuki took down James and played spoiler and played Snake in the background, actually.
Yeah, crazy to think about. Crazy to think about, given these 2 titans at the top that are fighting for everything, and some of the teams down towards the bottom can still have huge impact, huge influence on what goes on here in the tournament. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Time now to go to our penultimate game of the day here for PCS2 EU. It's the grassy pastures. It's Erangel.
Certainly is. 2 more to go. I couldn't tell you where this goes, but I couldn't imagine a better way to see the teams towards the top battling it out. And I'm glad James called them Titans, because they truly are. FaZe and Liquid. I think they personify what we love about EU-style PUBG. It's gorgeous play from them. FaZe have had highs and lows, as have Liquid. It's a curious tale of 2 parts. But, you know, the victors get to write the history books here. So we'll find out how this looks at the end of it. But as said, this is another shot at it. Starting in the southwest, heading up towards the northeast, everyone should be relatively comfy going to where they like to be. FaZe might have to take a little bit of a longer stretch, but they should be okay.
Sorry about that. Actually, muted myself by mistake. I'm getting that excited ahead of the game.
I was like,
but,
wow, some dead air.
Yeah, I know. Just kind
trying
of leaving it going. My mistake on the previous one, I actually thought it was Liquid at the end who had secured the bag, and it ended up, when we watched the replay in the end, it was actually Clib who did go down, so that was completely my mistake towards the end of it, which, again, I suppose, with the points, it kind of puts this whole steadfast of why FaZe are now starting to get in ever so slight edge. I mean, it's very brittle. An 8-point lead is absolutely nothing. It's 8 frags. It's a couple of placement points. No matter which way you cut it, it's still in a knife edge for either of these teams. What they can't do now, and I think even if TSM and Shift W, who have crossed that 150-point bracket, if either of those two now really want a shot at winning this whole thing, they have to get no less than first here, and you have to have at least 10 kills in the bag for this. And so you're looking for a 20-point game, again, to even excel you somewhere close. That'd only put you up to 175, right? You're still a fair shot off of where Liquid and FaZe have now put themselves. It's such a damn solid position. You just can't afford any mistakes. It has to be perfect PUBG from here on out. Any 16th place is going to ruin your chances. This is... We can't ask for 2 better, 2 more evenly matched, 2 titanic mammoth teams fighting for a grand championship on a Sunday. Like, this is everything that we hope for and more.
Okay. So the top 2 will do their usual looting. There should be no problems for them at the very start. Now, I look to third. Shift W. A couple of good moments here and there, and this is a good circle for them. We saw... you know, a good little battle. They managed to pick up, I think it was against the Wildcats, but they haven't been pushing late game. We haven't seen them in those, you know, final, 2s, final 3s. They need a little bit of a bigger push. And again, I don't normally ask this of other teams. I don't normally say you got to be in first or second or maybe third. But if you're wanting to fight with FaZe and Liquid, you got to be. And then TSM, Iroh is pulling them up by the bootstraps. He's put the whole team in the backpack right now. He's doing great work. But they need a clean start. Losing out on those 2 players early then, it cost them a lot of viability late game. They have to pull themselves back together. And hence, we've seen some great moments throughout this tournament for them. And maybe a resurgence of performance that really caught our eye, that made us believe a little that maybe they'd shaken the monkey off the back. But they've also found themselves a little bit of a middling final day, but they're in 5th spot. It's nothing to be overlooked or considered a poor performance, but it's not a top 2 performance right now. But they can have them. The man there, Squeaky, is one of those players who can do it. Same with Tixu as well. I've seen him do just disastrous things. They're the teams that you don't want to be towards the end against because they'll always find a little something, and they had a pretty good run here just yesterday. So outside of that, though, we go below it and it starts to dissipate. The chances start to fade away. But I'm looking at TSM as how badly do they want this, right? How hard are you willing to push for this one? And we'll find out. It's all in front of them now. A pretty fair circle for everyone, I feel. I don't think anyone's going to be too upset. Liquid need to be a bit cautious here, as they do have, obviously, Tornado Energy quite close by. This is Tornado Energy's territory, and as much as they're not, I feel, a threat to the grand scheme of things, I don't think they're a team that's going to be walking away in number, 1, 2, 3, any of that. They're still fraggers. You look at who's around them. So they're fragging on par with someone who's in 9th. If that, you know what I mean? So yes, their placements have been poor, but their ability, their individual ability, still really holds water. So this is a scary circle because we're going to have some teams very close by very early on. Your TSMs, your Liquids, and Shift W are going to be very near each other, and that's 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
And I do wonder how this format has shaken up the competition, only doing 4 games a day, and I do wonder how it kind of puts it into context. And once it's all said and done, it'd be good to go back and take a look at the points. I mean, for Liquid, we spoke about the poor performance that they had at the start of this one, but the same can be said for TSM. I mean, out of the 8 games of the first weekend that they played, they had 6 of them that were between 10th and 16th place. Like, they had a pretty piss poor weekend, if we're going to be completely blunt, compared to TSM's normal performance, especially when you come into a week number 1 where you were the victors. You're the reigning grand champions of PCS number 1. It was like, what a fall from grace this is. And even Poc was at times just like bewildered as to what they're actually doing. Talk about feeding the fins. WS are here. Squeaky is ready to receive these. Fair amount of damage from the left-hand side also will solidify his place, unfortunately. So out of the lobby he is put. All 3 of them do commit to the cause. Ence will have to turn and face away from this one. That's a little bit unfortunate. Another team that was just high on chances of potentially securing the bag and getting up there towards the 1st and 2nd place. Makes it all much more difficult. And honestly, it's a bit of a crap place to be fighting, let's be honest. It's the northern edge of the circle. Yes, I do understand and take into account there is water in Sosnovka towards the south, which won't come into play. But still, the side of Yasnaya Ponds is not really a viable bit of territory I want to be fighting for. You should be across the Rosshawk River right now. You should be going further towards the central areas of the circle. Still, 2 teams went for it, so it is what it is. We do move on. Everyone else starts to slowly magnetize towards the center point. All eyes now. TSM, they have a very, very good spot. Plumb center of this one, and everyone else has to play off the back foot. FaZe, not the most amount of work to do. Certainly a fair amount of ground if you want to get to central, and that's because of all the teams that loot between Yasnaya and farm areas. They become a bit of a wall now. This is why we might see FaZe just posture for all but a circle or 2. Hang fire, sit back, assess the situation. Don't just go blazing it in and, fully DAing it out of the lobby. There's no need at this point. Gustav can go and find a place to call home, and they can slowly but surely work their way in. On the other side, actually, I've just made note on the map. On the west, Northern Lights IW are knocking at each other's door, and even Raise Your Edge is actually Monkey's out there on his own. And he's disconnected for a reason, and that's to give information to the rest of the 3 players that are just below Pachinki towards the hillside and await them, potentially.
I'm a little scared of how Liquid are playing this. If we could check on their positions, they're in quite a wide split in a very busy area, to the extent where I don't know if they're going to be able to come back together and not lose players on the way. Do you see what I'm seeing on the map there? So we've got Ibi over by the Pachinki Fields, right? And then Mexi on his own towards Tornado Energy, and then I think Jeems is there with Clib, I'd guess. Like
so
a 2-on-1.
That's near farmhouse, so the 2 barns at the back. Yeah,
They're big,
and then
big territory to hold, center mass.
I suppose it's to take either side of the potato hill. You go down one
Yeah.
side and you've got the whole valley which flows inwards, and they're kind of the same for the opposing side. So I think they're banking on two hard shifts. I mean, actually, yeah, now I really do see what you mean. They've got three areas because they've got the top side of farm as well. So whatever happens with this circle, they're going to have to just book it. All right,
Yeah, I
Jimbo
wanna
and
see if
Co,
EB gets
get in the
space.
cars, boys, and drive, because that is not a hard shift
Right.
as such. You'd have to be fully
No.
anticipating this, but now you're separated.
Buzzface and Brexico. I'm seeing them both go to the same compound. You can see it on the map, and I don't know who's made it there first. Be very they both pulled up, so they're both committing.
Yep.
The rest of the team's coming, so here we go. Buzzface is on the outskirts, inside. Brexico, a little bit of a tag, but the molly's in hand, so he's going to buy time for the support to come in. They're all pulling up to this. FaZe have made it there first. Chris, second in, so Brexico is all on his own here. Up against FaZe, but Brexico's been big. Oh my god! Here we go, ladies and gents. Brexico's flushed Gustav, but they did have the hit and run. That's a trade out 1-for-1, but now here comes the rest. Zoka gonna pull up, so FaZe are locked into the lower floor. Shift W are up for this fight, but FaZe cannot afford to lose this. They have to keep this one in check.
Well, the doors are opening, so they're on the way through.
He's fully
Group is
white.
damaged.
He's
Soccer will be able
fully
to
white.
at least give him that information. That's why he's not taking a shot at him whatsoever, but do they realize where he's moved to? That's the question. With the sound of the nades going off, they probably don't have the full information. Please don't tell me ETG is just going to pull up to this one. They're going to take the top side of the hill. Blaze is there as well, so bullets will begin to ring. And the distractions caused by this, neither team of Shift W office can really take their eye off the ball. We do hop on board with Blaze. They're about to engage in this one. Marco's pulling up to the Harry Potter, sees his comrades around him, bleeding out at the wayside. Has to give a good level of support, otherwise this could be ETG saying bye-bye. And our second from last final game of Erangel and the competition as a whole. Marco stands tall, but Blaze are just surrounding him on all fronts. The drive-by for the distraction, the confirmation from the front. There's only one player left standing. It's Thunder lost. Unfortunately, has lost all of his teammates.
Now,
Where's
the other
Chris
part of
in
this
all
story,
of this?
Chris is dead.
Oh,
The
God, I
player
missed
who's
that
still
one.
up is Kilyakai, but he couldn't leave this building in time. Tornado Energy surrounding him. Now, luckily for him, they don't know he's here at all. There hasn't been much of a giveaway, I'm pretty sure. They seem very casual about this. They might check it in a diligent manner, but they seem very unaware. But it does mean that the rest of Shift W, Zoka, and Brexico will not have support anytime soon. They could call it in, but it ain't coming. So they've just got FaZe at the door, but this is a stalemate. FaZe would have loved to have had this. Same for Shift W, obviously, and been able to then, set up a bit of a defense, start picking away, getting that good information going for themselves. But it's not to be. Now, while I say this, Liquid did move into a better, position. They did make it across the shift. Lucky for them, even though it was a dangerous rotation route, they do it at the same time as everyone else. Everyone else is also in the vehicles, so no one's there to stop them. Where's TSM in all this one? Okay, so they went a little bit north of the Potato Hill, right?
Yeah, I've just realized where Kilyakai actually is. I was a bit confused. I thought he died on the way in, and it was Chris actually extended. Like, that is a huge separation, isn't it? Good lord. So they'll have to kind of see this one out as a 2-2. TSM has moved, actually, unfortunately, a little bit close for comfort in the terms of Omicum. But the benefit to TSM side is that they are in a 2-2 split. So they'll play the green areas just off the side of where they were on Potato Hill. They'll work their way down. The only problem is if they start taking more shots, which I can see them doing on the map, it depends how much information Raise Your Edge is going to gather from that. If they push them, it could be deadly. Team Liquid is also out there as well. They're lingering and lurking around. With the priority compound actually taken over by Blaze, and they've gone for a 2-2 to be able to solidify that. It is concerning where the teams like TSM, the teams like Team Liquid, opt to try and make their last stand, because all the priority compounds, center of this circle, they are gone.
TSM now, where do they go with this? Maybe that hillside opposite Blaze, but it's not a safe one, is it? That's not great. I see a mutant on Liquid, so clearly their loot wasn't ideal, unless there's a plan that I don't... Oh, God.
For the dip.
Free nades. It's pull-up. Here we go, Adepts up against TSM. Oh, the pull-up of death. Ferex down. Tundo flushed. There could be a res here. I think that TSM, I don't want to say fully safe, but they made it count.
Ned. Another nade.
Vex needs to heal, but this should be fine.
Apocalypse cycling. He gets one perfect. He's throwing that a bit wide. They go more to the right, but Vard will be able to get the res. Don't get me wrong, it's in the central circle, but my god, that is a fragile position to be holding on for. Teams like Blaze as well, who are unfortunately down in 15th, like, they're not going to give a damn if they can get stuck in and take some kills, then why the hell not? They might just commit to the suicide run, trade off, and let the rest fold in, and just ruin the game. There's possibilities in abundance of this across the board, especially if you're like sub 7th now. You're playing for as many points as you can gather, right?
Yeah, points genuinely make prizes. If they can jump on this, it always looks good, right? But my mind is constantly focused on, because I look at the positions that all the big teams are in right now, and they're pretty vulnerable. None of them are super strong. FaZe are living with Shift W around them, right? And Shift W doesn't have Kiliakai with them. Liquid are about to get very close to Raise Your Edge. I want to see if they get right next to each other, because they're very close by on that dirt path that runs just south of Potato Hill. And obviously TSM in that ditch. It's safe enough, unless Apocalypse finds a couple more nades. Again, I'd really love to see the context of this Raise Your Edge and Liquid battle if possible, because these two, it'd be good to see if anyone gets knocked. Okay, so yeah, they've seen them as well. Aduzi's seen Liquid here. He's going to relay this information. He's definitely caught a glimpse of one the way he's playing on this. James is held back though, so he's maybe playing that anchor piece, and they can let them get a little bit further ahead. But if they get into a fight with Tornado Energy, Raise Your Edge could third party that.
James is the saving grace here if he spots him, which he does. Now he knows the team's lurking there, so he can send the information back to the rest of Liquid. We have contact. We have to be aware. If they'd not got that info early, then we could have been for a real problematic situation. The nades have been cycled. The utility should be committed. Pull a doozy back. Unfortunately, they'll have to kind of die on this hill, so to speak, because with the position that Blaze are holding down below, there's nowhere else really to go.
Navi just found Brexico, so FaZe might be back among us for a little bit. They've been locked in. They've been caged. They couldn't do anything. Iroh still in the kill feed. Nothing to be surprised at after his last couple of performances, but that help from, I think it was Orange who did. Mexi's been killed by Kiliakai. Where the hell did that? They shifted south. Oh my lord, Kiliakai, that is dangerous. High vert nade, that could flush him. Here comes Homakun, don't care about that. There we go. Okay, if he's found Kiliakai, didn't see it from killer perspective, but it's all gravy. Mexi has been flushed though, and that's what we were curious about. If they could have kept maybe 4 alive, that could have been way better off for them. Now they're in the same predicament as FaZe, but TSM have maintained their 4th. Shift W is down to 1. That was the, I think it's Zoka who's in the other building near FaZe. So again, this is all dangerous, but TSM on the move. They're going for a very, very bold pull up towards the shelter, and they've made it. I say it very lightly because there could be more threats around, and this area gets so flooded with people. But with their 4 players, at least they can maybe set up a defense here.
And try and gather some info. It depends who else is running the rat race down low. That's when it gets really problematic when you're fighting high and low. Depends which way they want to traverse this. You won't be going down into the tunnels at this point, especially given where the circle is. Navi is sitting pretty happy. Thunderlost is just in no man's land, but he's in a safety net for now. Raise Your Edge are gonna do the central push. This could be dangerous unless they take control of that very minute, minuscule dip in the hill that they can play off the back of. Clib steals one away. Clib's actually been answered. Tornado Energy. That's an AKM, so that has to be a pretty close fight. They've got in close proximity to them. They've actually pushed out of this downside of the road. They've caught them off guard. Nades will initially unfold. Bystanders moving into WS.
Вони коли з висока показують, і воно дергається. Мені нагадує, як то колись були телевізори, і то антенну в хаті рухав, блін, і воно так дригало, блін.
Land is becoming very, very sparse. Take whatever you can get and pull your head in. Ibby going down as well. Is that Liquid down to 1?
2. James and Clib still alive. That's all you got, but Tornado Energy have them dead to rights. Big shots from James are going to help out, though. Him thinking up other players is brilliant. FaZe just be trying to get what they can. They're just going to try and suddenly stop peacocking because they had that player taken away, so they have the opportunity to actually do so. But the bigger problems are with Liquid. This side of the circle is really not ideal. They don't have vehicles either. So for them, this is going to be actually a very hard game for them to maintain that second spot in, let's say, a competitive manner to FaZe. FaZe could tear this ahead. Luckily, the circle kind of closed in on FaZe. I thought this was going to be them done for. But Liquid now going to be asked to do something monstrous. Try and run that south side of the hillside. Example's already spotted James. Here's going to be finding James and flushing. Liquid in dire straits here. Clib, your last man alive. They could be sub-top 10. They could be going down super early. They've only got 2 kills to the name as well. This could be a disaster for Liquid.
I think Quiz is coming to round this one up. Put a cap on it and post it. Example's taken a much deeper position, which locks out Clib doing anything. It would be just a world star of a shot. An absolute blinder to try and make something happen. But really, where can you go? It's an open territory. I mean, FaZe eventually will get a look in on that. Regardless what happens, we spoke about dying on top of the hill. Tornado Energy and Blaze finally Blaze have removed themselves from the compound. It's been a good old safety position for quite some time. The north's starting to get a little bit loud. It's the calm before the storm. It is back building up there. Ents, TSM, bystanders. Bystanders are swinging to the north to try and get a better position, but ultimately, because it's an uphill battle perpendicular to their position, everybody will just be raining down bullets from above, especially given Razor Edge's position.
Now, if you're Clib and you've been paying attention, seeing this fight go on can make you consider you've got more room to move. But you were right to highlight Example earlier, because he is the one keeping Clib completely locked in. So you could see what he tried to do there, couldn't you? He tried to move into the circle, find a bit of room for himself. But now this problem's further afield, but these problems are being dealt with very diligently. Nice work by Tornado Energy, and now their attention can turn back to poor old Clib, who might have to be forced to fight here. He might either try and live in their shadow, try and flank around. Nice play from Clib. Not ideal weaponry. It ain't no barrel, so we aren't getting that excited. The Scar going to be put to practice, but these boys can close in. No angle will be truly safe against 3. They can surround him. Fakes out the smoke. That's nice. A little fake smoke there gives him a little bit of room if they didn't see him already cross south, so he can start running. Thender is down there, and Thender seems aware of the fight that happened on this side. So this could be a fight that Clib's forced to take, and he has no smokes left anymore.
You can get this one player with the Moisen. Gives him a bit more of a position to play with. Uber onto Ira. That's an interesting kill in the kill feed. That's a distance as well. It's only a knock. They should be still inside the old bunkers.
Uber's nabbing points, isn't he? Look at him. Perfectic's gone. Here we go. If Uber's having a game, no one else has one. Now, the edge of shelter is still in. Deep there. You can see Fuzzface. FaZe are looking for kills. They're being hyper proactive here. They're peeking everything. And they're getting everything. Another one goes to the pocket. That's 190 points for FaZe right now. The kills are flooding in. They are now pushing ahead from Liquid. They see the Liquid go down. Right, boys. We're pushing this one. This is a game to give ourselves that step in the right direction. Clib has slotted in, but we've got to look at TSM here because they're going to be under so much threat. They've got bystanders. They've got Ents. They've got Adepts. They've got it all coming their way. Fex and Vard hold the line. Looking for them. Clib's gone. It's Thender who found him. This is FaZe's time to run away with this tournament.
Sub 10th position and still in the circle for FaZe. Smoke screen will dissipate and finally the players from Ents will arrive through the shadows. But do they anticipate the high push from TSM? They're very limited to what they can actually do here given all the bullets that are flying their way. The vehicles will be battered at this point. No tires should be left standing. If they were, they may have been able to do a quick long push all the way down on the eastern embankment, but honestly, bystanders are going to be there. The remnants of Navi are going to be there to block off any kind of pincer maneuver. A knock does come through from Senya. Still mobile with vehicles. Ira onto Tixu as well. First nade finds its target. Quietens them for a second. Digger it inside the shack. I like this. Go inside the shack and hold back. It's a bit unorthodox. Let them come out first. Bait them into the engagement. Let them fire first and then tag them up as they approach from the smoke.
The most venomous snake of them all is Noki downstairs. I'll assume he is because we're not looking for him. Molly in the corner. Digger is nowhere to go. Just the time to die. TSM 4 alive on the board, boys. You've seen one of the big boys fall, so maybe it's your time to push up. Now, Zocca still being alive is a problem for TSM, though, and if he just keeps staying alive, living comfortably in the shadow of the Colossus phase, they'll be safe. But TSM are getting the vehicles. It's time to move. Miraku in with Vard. Here we go. Senya on the pull up towards Zocca this time. Maybe scouting that that building wasn't looking so busy compared to the other. And that's a threat that they can maybe manage. Razor Edge and TSM will clash on this hillside. They go straight towards it. Oh, the nade's good. Vard's down. Miraku's dead. There's the flush. It was an attempt, but it was a poor one.
The bombardment will continue. It's cooked, the pin's pulled, and down it goes. Will it find a target? No, it does not. There is a response from Fex. Of course it would be Fex. Ira's there. Flashbangs out. Confirmation of the kill does at least come through. Ira hits the deck. And Prones for now as they try and get a doozy back on his feet. With Monkey at the rock, they have all the angle. It's off the back. They're going to be whited up, but it depends about Monkey. Holding that cross angle is fantastic for them. Ira has to deal with him. If he does, it'll be even good. But the third party, you saw it, you called it. The nades come through. Two of them fall down. A doozy's confirmed. The bystanders, it's time for them to get stuck in.
And now they've just seen that beaming nade coming out. They've got to be aware that there's another team coming. TSM, these comms are going to be manic. But Iro's fallen. He can't do any more. Fex now in a 1v4 in this. If bystanders keep pushing, he is going to have to go big. He's going to have to do what Iro almost did. He can't handle the left eye peek in the end. Flammy's there. And now Shiv has got a lot to do. And not a lot to do it with. Swings around, finds one. That's short down. That's not a flush on it. And now the molly's burn and 3'd up, geared up. It doesn't matter. He's dead. And what a sweeter way to do it for Flammy. And let's look at these points. TSM just got themselves in third. They've jumped Shift W, but FaZe still stand. If they win this, Rich, my word, that compound grab they went for was the most valuable thing they've done the entire game.
It's, even to this point, it's given them such a solid buffer in points as we roll into the grand final match. And honestly, this is what we want to see in PUBG. We don't want a team fully running away with it. Everyone else needs to at least have some kind of a foot in the door when we get to that final game. Yes, it's always nice to crown a grand champion early and see a team go off in just magnificent performance, but when everyone else is playing up to that same level, it makes watching this just that much more sweeter. The secondary compound now put out. Orange will have to make his way towards FaZe Clan. The circle isn't the most favorable for FaZe. They're going to have an uphill battle, but they at least have numbers. Tornado Energy can fan out on top of the hill and take as much groundwork as they like. Alia will sit back for all but a moment just to make sure that it is secure from behind. There are no snakes just wandering through the fields. Tagged up, not down just yet. Orange trying to do as much work as he can towards the side of FaZe and try and make his last stand. And a last stand he does. We're down to 3 teams with 10 people alive. 3 of them are going to be all in red from the side of FaZe Clan. This is a massive game for them. The position has been fantastic. To lose a player so earlier on, I have to agree with you, Lauren. You called it. It looked a bit worrying times at the start, but this has paid off massively.
Fuzzface is out. Fuzzface is on the ground, and they haven't spotted it. Let's get on board with Fuzzface. I want to see what he sees. Does he instigate anything that maybe Uber could play off? Bystanders, they're staying in position. Fuzzface has pushed up this hill. This is excellent proactive play. It gives them a gateway forward. If Uber and 80 get a bit of fire down, he can do well here. Alia's trying to pull up, using the south side of the circle to try and navigate around. Example there too, but they don't know about Fuzzface. He is the unknown quantity. The man who could change things. I think Tornado Energy considered this position. They're like, no, it doesn't give us too much. Let's stay further ahead. With the circle doing this, they could maybe shift up another player to join Fuzzface. Or they leave 2 players in the compound. But I think that balcony ledge is all that's actually playable. So I'd consider moving someone up with Fuzzface. Put your knights in the correct place on the board and let them have a go at this. But what does Tornado Energy and Bystanders do? Bystanders have been quite passive. They haven't shown too much. Tornado Energy have been quite proactive, peacocking around in this final couple of circles here.
Alia keeps repositioning closer and closer with that vehicle towards FaZe. And that might be to try and deny them an escape route from that building. Depends how much vision he actually has, but with the smoke screen up, it draws attention, especially from Melman, towards the side of the bystanders.
This could be really smart. If FaZe are holding to just make sure... Yeah, okay, here we go. There's the push out. We were seeing it. 80s come out. Uber's still in the building. It's what we kind of discussed earlier on. But I think they're waiting on this fight to happen. I think the new circle will force a fight between Tornado Energy and the bystanders, which is perfect for FaZe. It's exactly what they want. And as soon as that starts, Alia trying to keep control of FaZe becomes irrelevant. And he's going to need to support the others because here comes Beanie. Melman down and out. Trade comes in. Nice work from Example. But now there has to be more. Otherwise, FaZe are going to be getting into this one. And FaZe, if they come into full force at this point, they could just completely mop up. They're going unnoted, Rich.
under the radar, and a nice clean rotation all the way to the northern side of the circle. They'll be coming behind all of bystanders, all of Tornado Energy. Now it's time to strike. They see weakness across the rosters. Look at these players, they're half HP. There's the first one, the second one falls as well. Uber, full space, I'd see they all get involved in the fight, and it's time to go. The last enemy, the last pin on this board is about to be knocked down. Grenade, cooked, timed. It could be the final stand for Yellow, with it going down and the explosions to the side. If not, it just gives away more information towards the side of FaZe. They come around this corner. This would be a phenomenal, phenomenal win from FaZe.
They've had no right to do this. They had been crashed at the start. They've been locked in. They had no right to play this damn well. Tornado Energy, 11 kills, who cares? FaZe just turned this around. Unless Alia does something unbelievable, it's all but over. FaZe, I cannot believe that performance. World-class play from the boys. They've got to be happy with that one. That's got to prove to themselves that they are in the perfect spot to win the entire thing.
You can see it on Fuzzface's face exactly what this means. And a win like that, not only this competition, but what that's going to do to their point structure now, how much solidity it will give them at the top of this table. They are the Titans. They are the final boss. They are the team now that everybody has to meet, has to match up to, has to play up to. This is going to be one hell of a difficult task for Team Liquid to knock them off that top spot. Is it a bridge too far? I honestly don't know. But in order to get to that, they need to die in 6. To have any chance of winning this now, somebody needs to eliminate FaZe Clan down in 16th, get them out the server, get them off the board, and let the other teams that are all below them play the game. This is... It could be a bridge too far, but either way, it sets us up for one exciting grand final match.
One more to go, but before we get there, let's head to the boys to set the scene.
That's right. The big question is it already all over? FaZe get themselves another victory on the board with big kills as well. Martin's looking like a happy boy. And me and Froz, we got some catching up to do, I think. But that is the highlights coming in here from this game. And Patrick, start with yourself here. FaZe just looking monstrous from the position that they had.
I mean, they're looking phenomenal from the way they're playing as well. We saw them, of course, reaching for, fighting for that compound against Shift W in the start. We saw Fuzzface and we saw Brexo going for it at the same time. And both of the teams, they knew how important this was. But there was one difference. Shift W, they were still stuck. They were not ready to move yet. While FaZe Clan, they were already on the move. They knew they had to go for this, and they committed to it. And it's because it's so strong, not only for just holding it, but you can also save vehicles. If you have time, you can park them inside. It's perfectly fine for later on. So they wanted to set everything up for this. They knew this was the game-winning move.
Yeah, it felt like a sting to have Gustav like flushed that early, Martin, but they knew that that compound, as Froz is saying, was very important. And then from there, in those final fights that they were taking, they looked supremely confident about taking them. And a phase like that is a very scary phase.
Yeah, you could see that, especially in the end there when there was 3 teams alive, and they were not the last team to engage, or one of the teams to engage in that situation. That was close as well, by the way. And they were the third party, the last third party to happen. That was just perfect for them being able to wrap up like this. The bystanders also pushing onto Ratio Edge, so they don't have to worry about that. That also meant that Ratio Edge had to fight and put some pressure onto bystanders. Bystanders lost some utility, lost some armor and stuff like that. They were going to be bruised and beaten up as well. So the energy getting a lot of kills, handling the west side extremely well as well, and obviously Fuzzface taking down the last player in the compound there, making and enabling them to kind of get out of there with this. So, a great game overall, great game from FaZe. They're looking extremely strong here towards the last game.
Yep, it's going to be a tall order for anyone to catch up with them. Bystanders has had a really good day for themselves as well, though. They will go out in what looked like 4th or 3rd place here during this game. And we had even Team Tornado Energy trying to get themselves something done here at the final, but it's too little too late. Let's take a look at the points coming in now. 9th through 16th, quite a few points actually coming in for a lot of these teams. Very spread kills coming in from this game. And 1 through 8 as we move on up. Most importantly, though, is that Team Liquid going out in 12th is not the best position for them whatsoever if they wanted to contest the top. And the entire points of this game just feel like they were soaked up by the top 3 teams here, Frost. Everybody else got scraps.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some phenomenal play from all of these top 3 teams. I'd say bystanders, for example, we saw them how they pushed over from shelter. They were playing a little bit passive on the north side. But then when they saw the fight between TSM and Raise Your Edge, they struck straight away for that, make sure that they could get those points. And it's a really good play because we're talking about it's still playing for money. Even if you can't get the first place, there's still a lot of money on the line and you want to push yourself up there towards the top. We saw them, of course, win the first game as well of the day.
A very happy Fuzzface for place number 1 in terms of kills coming in, and we even saw the kind of elation at the end of that game from Fuzzface Martin, because right now he knows that other teams, namely Team Liquid, has to have a massive final game to catch up with them.
Right, and you could basically nearly see what it was. It was something along the lines with "Let's go, boys," and with some swear words in between. And the picture there, I really like it from Face because it's like above than average, slightly pleased Fuzzface. You know, it's nice to see him happy, especially nice to see him represented their first playing Champions skills.
Yeah, definitely. So going on to our final game now. I mean, this is effectively done unless somebody, namely Team Liquid, can have a massive game. And when it comes to having a massive game like this, Froz, you can't just sit back, right, and hope the circles are coming to you and hope the teams are coming to you. You have to be proactive, surely.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be proactive, surely, but we have 1 game left. And, okay, this is... Are we gonna do this? Are we gonna talk about a hot drop here? Because we're looking at a 20-point lead, basically, from FaceTime. I think something like that. They had like a 1 or 2 point lead before this game and getting the 10 kills. But Liquid, currently, I think they have a 20-point cushion towards Shift W on 3rd place as well. That means they could potentially go for a hot drop on FaceTime. That is kind of their only hope to win. You don't want to leave it in any other team's hand right now. The fate is in your hand. You can take control over the situation. You can hot drop them. It's most likely not going to work. Kind of never works, but this is kind of the last chance, and you have nothing to lose, more or less.
Well, gents, we're going to a short break, and when we return, it's the final game here of PCS2 Europe. Join us after this.
Я вот точно знаю, кто станет чемпионом.
Hello, I'm just Nigel and I vote for Team Liquid winning the PCS2.
Es ist Zeit, sich zu erheben. Auf geht's, Chieftec!
I wish all teams happy fragging and good luck, but Chieftec is the gang.
Let's go, Resurrect. The French are behind you. Good luck, guys. Have fun.
Always great once again to see a lot of the fans joining in here for PCS2. And don't forget, down in the future, when we've got PCS3 coming on up, we might end up doing the same thing again. So think about it. Think about what you're going to actually record for your favorite teams moving forward. And at the end of this, not only will we know our champion, but we'll also know some extra qualifiers on through into PCS3 as well. But now, FaZe Clan has not only reached that 200-point mark. Look at the gap that they've been able to accrue, Martin. They are flying away with
Navi на 6-м.
That is 25 points. And I
Торнадо
actually think
вообще на 10-м.
what Patrick is saying is we have 24 points down to TSM from Liquid. I think a hot drop is in order here. I've checked a few of the sites that has API access in terms of checking the points, and they're all down. So I think the Team Liquid guys are actually spamming the refresh button, and all the sites are down now, and nobody knows what the points is. But I think in able to contest this is it's a 15-point plus. It's actually 16 kill or chicken dinner they need, and they would need to take out FaZe Clan from the very beginning. And they have basically nothing to lose in terms of, even if they go out first, TSM or Shift W would need to take a 14-kill chicken dinner to contest them for that second place. So I think that would be great to see. We've seen it before. We saw it last time I remember was that FaZe Clan hot dropping on something like Cloud9 in PGL Fall 2018, I think, something like that. It's what it comes to mind in terms of one-to-one hot dropping first and second, where second place was FaZe Clan actually back then, and they had a big cushion to third place. So was what they went for. I believe it was a hot drop into Pubg actually from FaceClan. So this is super interesting.
Yeah, and Froz, you remember that time, you know, about maybe 2 games ago where we talked about potential tiebreakers and all that stuff? Well, you can throw that out the window by the looks of things.
That's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, on top of the points, of course, we know that FaceClan has 18 kills more than Liquid right now. So yeah, throw that out there.
Unless they got an 18. No, wait, no, that wouldn't work either. Anyway, never mind. No.
Yeah. That would be FaceClan getting you know 2 kills. They wouldn't kills as well, and then that was not happening.
All right. But as you can see, TSM taking 3rd place above Shift W with tied points must mean that they're ahead in terms of kills. And when it comes down to it, Froz, obviously there is prize pool separation between all these positions, so there's still a lot to play for your TSM, your Shift W, your ENTs here in our 3rd through 5th spots.
I mean, yeah, if you look at it, 3rd place is $20,000, 4th place $10,000, and then you have 5th to 8th place is $6.4K. So there's a lot of money on the line for all of those teams on the top there. That is not like fighting for 1st or 2nd place. And again, it could be down to a tiebreaker. Who knows? Right now, TSM, Shift W, same points, but TSM got 5 more kills than Shift W.
Жалко, що перше місце беруть 200 тисяч, а друге третє. Ну, то теж якісь мали би бути
for Shift W, though, we're going to be wanting to pull it out here in this game for sure. But likewise, so is ENT's going to be. But ENT's, I feel Martin has been pretty quiet throughout the day here, and considering their strategy choice for the tournament,
бо тако старатись зайняти друге чи третє місце і фіа не отримати, то трохи бред.
ENT's and Shift W on 12, TSM sitting on 29, so overall two kind of low days for Shift W and so far. TSM is on a good momentum. They've been fracking out